Have you ever had the thought of going out camping and hearing whispers? Or hearing somebody in the forest? I have. Once me and my friend Jake were going out camping in the woods one day, and it was still daylight when we heard rustling in the trees, and we asked who was there, and nobody answered. So we just brushed it off as a little bird or a deer walking around. So me and Jake went to the center of the forest and we set up camp and we got the fire pit ready and we started to roast our marshmallows. And as soon as it hit around 3 o'clock at night, we started to hear noises. I had woke up from a dream and I heard whispers in the woods and I asked, "Who's there?" And I thought, "Jake, you better not be playing a prank on me, It's not funny." And I can hear Jake snoring from the other tent. And I was like, okay, if it's not Jake, who could this be? And I asked again, "Who's there?" And somebody answered and they said, "Save them." And I said, "Save who? Who was out there?" So I unzipped my tent and I went out there right next to the fire pit. And I said, "Who's out there? Show yourself." And I regretted saying that. Oh, I did. As I heard rustling from the trees get louder and louder and louder to the highest peak, I saw something that I wish I'd never seen and that I wish that nobody will ever see. It was such a disgusting and horrifying sight, but it was a creature made of pale white skin, had bloody deep scarlet red claws, had a mouth slit from ear to ear, had black abyss eyes, and he just stared at me. And when I called Jake out, I stood real still and I said, Jake, wake up, please, there's somebody out here." And I heard him rustling in his tent. And I said, Jake, please, wake up, wake up." And he woke up and he came out of his tent. And as he did and I turned around, the creature disappeared. And I said, "Jake, we have to get out of here right now." So me and Jake packed up all our stuff and we started to haul. We ran so fast out of that forest. Only took us about 10 minutes to get to the very edge of the forest. And as I turned around, I saw the creature again waving at us. And as we left, I said, "I saw something in the woods." He said, "What did you see?" I said, "It was some weird looking creature of pale white, scarlet, deep red claws. Its mouth was slit from ear to ear, and it had black obisic eyes." And Jake said, "Well, I've never heard of that creature before, but I would like to see what it is. If you mind, can we please come back the next day and find out? I'll bring my camcorder and we'll go in." I said, "Yes, that's fine. We have to warn the people and tell them that there's something in the woods." So as we went the very next day, we got the camera and we got a couple of EVP recording devices. And we went out there and I told Jake, "Jake, do you know these EVP things are like for ghosts and everything, right?" He was like, "Yes, but if this was a spirit that you saw, then we might be able to catch it." So I said, "Well, that makes perfect sense, Jake. Thank you." So as me and Jake started to walk into the woods, we went straight to the middle of the woods where we were the other night. And I called out. I said, "Is there anybody there?" And I heard the rustling again. And I was like, Jake, it's here. Get out here." And as he pulled his camera out and he looked out, I said, "Is there anybody here? Hello?" I heard the same whisper say, "Help us," and "Help them." And then we heard the rustling get louder and louder and louder. And it was to the highest peak, to where it came back out from in between the trees and looked at me again. And this time, it smiled. And me and Jake were so frozen in fear that we just took off running. He dropped the camera, I dropped the equipment, and we ran. And we ran as fast as we could. And as we got to the very edge, I felt something pull on me. And I turned around, and it was the creature. And the creature was trying to pull me into the forest, and I screamed for Jake's name because Jake was ahead of me. I said, Jake, please help me. Don't let this take me in. Please, Jake, help me. And as Jake grabbed my arm and he pulled me out, the creature seemed to not like the very edge of the forest, and he jumped back, letting go of my jacket. As we turned around, the creature frowned and walked away. The very next day, we went into the morning, because it seems to come out more at night. So we went into the morning, and we looked for the camera and everything, and we found it with a note. And as we looked at the camera, we took the camera home, and we got all of our equipment, and we took it home. I read the note, and it said, "Save them" on it, in big, bloody letters. So as I looked at the camera, I was so horrified for what I have seen. I never want anyone to see this, or even imagine it. But in this camera, it was so graphic and so horrifying. There was 4 little children, 2 girls and 2 boys. And they looked like the townspeople's kids. And it looked like they might have wandered off out there, because I've known lots of children to wander off into the woods at night. And there was 2 little girls. One of them was in tears and crying. The other one was so frightened that she was pale and she couldn't move a muscle. The one that was crying screamed, and the creature that was there came and slit her throat. As he slit her throat, he looked at the other. She started to cry and scream. He took both his claws and he shoved them down her throat and ripped her jaw apart. And as he looked at the boys, he changed. He changed into this black, obisic myth. And he walked up to the boys, and the first boy that he went up to, he tore limb from limb. And as the boys screamed in pain next to him, as he saw the sight of his brother getting tore apart from this creature, the creature came for him next. And as the creature looked him in the eye, he took his claws and he put him face to face and broke his neck. And as he did this, he looks back at the camera, smiles, whispers, "Save them," and drags all 4 bodies away. And as he did this, all that was left was the camera, the equipment, and one little note saying, "Save them."